let f of x equal x cubed minus 3x squared minus 1. And we're only going to take this for values of x that are greater than or equal to 2. And what we want to do is we want to find the value of the f inverse of dx at the point x equals negative 1, which is f of 3. All right, now remember, if f of 3 equals negative 1, right, it makes sense. You plug in the 3 in here, right? 27 minus 27 minus 1, that's negative 1. Remember, what this means, though, is f inverse of negative 1, that is equal to 3. Okay, that's just based on this idea of inverse function. So what is this question really asking? Okay, well, this is the function in question, right? So really, what do we want to do? We want to find the inverse, right? We want to find the inverse or the equation of the inverse, and then take the derivative of that inverse, and then plug in negative 1. Okay, so that's really what this question is asking, right? Oh my goodness, so, okay, find the inverse function, right? How do we find the inverse function? Okay, I mean, in this case, we actually can't, okay? But there's this idea about the inverse and the derivative, right? It turns out, okay, that df inverse of dx, right? df inverse of dx, right? There's actually a shorthand way. That's just actually going to be 1 over f prime, okay, composed with f inverse, okay, in this case, of negative 1. In this case, because that's where we want to find it. Okay. So what does that mean? Do we need to find the inverse function? No, we do not. We actually just need to find the derivative of f, plug in 3 in there, and then just invert it, put 1 over that. And that's actually all these 3 steps, right? So instead of doing this, right, finding the inverse function, taking the derivative, and plugging negative 1, right, we're just going to do this. Now, of course, there's a proof for this. It's not just something random I'm telling you here, right? So what's the first thing we want to do? Take the derivative, right? Find f prime, right? So f prime of x, in this case, we get what? 3x squared minus 6x. That's f prime, right? Then what's the next thing we want to do? We don't plug in negative 1 in here, but we plug in the value of 3. F prime of 3, okay? Okay, so we get 27 minus 18. That is equal to 9. And then what's the final answer? Just flip this over, put 1 over that. So 1 over 9. So what does that mean? It means for the inverse function, at this point, the slope of the tangent line is going to be 1 over 9.